name is Jake. I'm 32. And life, man, it's difficult. Not necessarily the overwhelming amount of bills or the miscellaneous jobs or the hidden fees or apartments if you can't get a house. No, it's just something deeper than any of that. Something just, I always just say there's something in the air. I don't know what exactly it is, but there's something that just, it's lurking right there. Just, I've been sad for, I don't even know. You know, the time I could tell was maybe in middle school. I started getting sad. And then come high school, just dealt with some stuff. But even in high school, I felt, you know, I would say, you know, depressed, anxiety, had friends. I don't really know. I guess it's pretty typical. High school, I would say. I always had friends over. I had a D&D room downstairs that my brother and my dad played way more than I did. But I played for a stint there, maybe about 3 years. Probably even more, but I played 3 years with a group of 8 or 9 of us. I had a lot of fun. Problem is, I never really enjoyed D&D, and I just drank a lot. Fast forward, I ended up joining the Guard and going to college kind of meantime. I'm married, happily married. Been married for 8 years, going on 9 years. Got married right around a deployment. Went to Kuwait, and then I went to Iraq after that. But I didn't really end up getting depressed until a few years into my Guard career. Maybe about 2 years. It just, actually, further than that, maybe about 2 years. And then that followed me for about 4 more years of just pure depression, anxiety. Me and my wife, and honestly, it went away for a long time. And I'm always grateful for her for giving me, 8 more years on this planet. Dealt with suicide a lot, just internally. Went through the whole thing of working out and therapy and psychiatry, and the VA's been a lot of help with all that. But nothing's really gave me a true outlet to feel like I fit in this world, and I don't really feel like I've ever really fit. I don't think that's something unique to me. I find that pretty apparent on YouTube that a lot of people are feeling the same way I feel, and I'll listen to them, and the way I feel is not the way they feel, but there's a lot of similarities. And sometimes I don't think they have the words to really vocalize how they feel. I understand that. Now that, I'm 32, I have gone through different waves of depression and anxiety, PTSD, OCD. I mean, again, my mental illnesses are not unique to me. The older you get, the more you realize that other people are kind of dealing with, like I would like to say, they're all in the same kind of Venn diagram. Some people have things that you don't know, and then some people have similarities to you when it comes down to it. But not until the maybe past 2 years has it again evolved into kind of push me deeper into the pit. You know, I just feel tired, you know, monotonous. Luckily, about to get my bachelor's, have my associates, get my bachelor's, and then after that, I'll get my master's. There's just these menial jobs kind of pushing me, just annoying. That I need to find a job that gives me more purpose. This job's not too bad. You know, it's average. But, you know, they're not terrible people here. The drama's to a minimum. But I just need something to get me out of this. Needed it for a long time. But I don't know what it is recently. You know, I guess per this video, you know, what this all means is I just see this sentiment all the time, especially on YouTube, that it's sad. It's a sad existence for a lot of people. You know, I'm hoping that me eating healthy again and working out will somehow, this time, I don't know why it would be different this time, but I'm hoping that this time it will be different. I mean, I've worked out for 18 years now. Probably really started working out when I was like 14 or 15 for cross country. Ran, you know, every day. And then in the Army, obviously, worked out a lot more after that. I was always good in the Army, or in the Guard, I guess, but if we're talking basic AIT, I was always, you know, I was up there with the A team, always doing the running back for other guys. Always showed up every day to excel, to always make sure that I put my best into working out. That followed me throughout the Guard. And on deployment, I ran every day, worked out every day, lifted the heaviest weights I ever have, ran the best times I ever have, got the best on my PT score, just did the best then. And I had a lot of motivation. You know, I had a wife at home who really needed me to be the best, to be always on top of my game. The guys with medevac, I needed to always be concrete and having my head on my shoulders just right to make sure that when that radio or certain, you know, 9-line came on, that I'd be ready to take it. But I never really got that back. Just lack of motivation now. I don't know what it is. The VA, like I said before, has been a lot of help. It's been great. I don't really cling on to it as I should. I've clinged on to it to the past very well. Going to therapy all the time, going to psychiatry all the time. But it's been hard now to find a rhythm. I'm in school right now as well, only one semester away. It's my last semester, getting my bachelor's. But I just need to find that motivation again, and you know what? I'll listen at work, 8 hours. I'll listen to YouTube videos, audiobooks, to podcasts. The list goes on. And one YouTube thread that's been popping up more and more is, you know, 25, single, never had a girlfriend. And I listen to these guys And the only thing that makes me different from them, that were catalysts for me maturing much more rapidly than I ever would before, was the Guard and that deployment and being married. My marriage is my first. She was my first girlfriend. She was my first kiss. She was my first everything. And we've been married ever since, and it's been incredible. We've had our ups and downs. I feel like everyone does. And I've ran into my own issues, as a man, that I had to deal with, and that she had to deal with too. She always has to deal with the aftermath. But I'm just still trying to find the answer out there. It's a hard answer to find. Like where I fit. I did psychology and major in addictions because I've had addictions in the past. I've seen people with addictions. God, everyone I know has got an addiction. Either they're using substances. Some of my coworkers, dealt with meth addictions and fentanyl addictions, and just I understand. Trust me, there's always part of me that wants to use substances, no doubt about it. That just wants to get rid of the pain of every day with a substance. I understand why they use them. One or two different life choices, I'd be using them right now too, no doubt. But I like having control of my own mind. It's not something I've always had a drinking problem for a long time. Drove a lot of the time, drinking a lot, and had 9 lives when it came to putting other people at risk and myself at risk. I have to deal with that every day because I could drink, but I've been over 2 years sober. I don't smoke. I don't smoke marijuana either. I don't even have energy drinks anymore. I try to be as clean as possible. So I think it's sometimes even more difficult, because what do you choose? Do you choose the substance to make you feel better, to deal with what you're dealing with, because every day is tough, or do you give in and you deal with the repercussions later and while you're doing them? It's not like you just get to deal with substance and get away scotch-free. There's always repercussions, especially while using. But it's tough. I think a lot of people need to have more passion with people who are using substances. It's just one or two different life paths, life choices, just little ripples that can really make you just delve deep into a substance. So I totally understand why someone will use. I've been in mental wards and also worked at mental wards. Saw the kids, worked in that unit, and got to see, what happened to them. And that was sad. I only had that job for a little bit. Knew my time was up because I was a little too compassionate. I guess I didn't follow the rules as far as, how can you punish a kid? I don't know how you can. Especially what they went through. I don't know how you could be like, yeah, just have no emotion towards them, just be soulless towards them, and if they act up or, you know, literally act like a kid, you know, like, it was terrible. But I got to see what they went through. 13, 14-year-olds. Just terrible. And I'm going to try to go into that field again with the education that I got, that the VA afforded me. Forever grateful for that. And go into that field, and maybe that's my calling, doing social work. Hopefully get a job with the VA and just to try to help other people. They've helped me in the past, and I feel like it's time for me to help them. And I think that's how the cycle goes. Everyone that helped me, especially former, you know, guys who went on deployments, guys who've seen a lot of action, guys who were amazing pilots, they were able to help me, and hopefully I can help them. But this video is really just to give a glimpse into, I'm just an average guy. I definitely don't feel like anything special. And I listen to these guys who, you know, single, you know, and I was single until 23. Got my act together. Have all the same kind of problems. And you know, anyone, man, I the number one thing that really hampered me, the two things that really hampered me were, you know, was porn, especially when I was younger, for a long time, and video games really hampered me because it just made me feel comfortable. It just made me feel like, you know, the days just fly by when you're doing both, and that destroyed a lot of my years of, you know, being able to go out there and find someone who, you know, is my significant other now, you know, like someone who I've got to see the woman's side of life, and I'm glad that I'm a guy. I know that there's a lot of guys out there who are, I don't know, out there saying that guys have it worse than women. I don't know where that came from. I really don't know. You know, you can be on this YouTube fucking thing for so long, and the algorithm will feed you this utter bullshit about, you know, somehow women got it better than guys do. I don't know where that narrative came from. I really don't know where that narrative came from. The women in my life, the women who were in the Army, they didn't get anything handed to them. My wife sure didn't get anything handed to her. Family members didn't get anything handed to them. People in the Army I saw didn't get anything handed to them. My sister, who's the smartest person I know, didn't get anything handed to her. So I don't understand where this narrative came from. I've worked with so many different races of women. I've worked with different ages, just everything, and none of them got anything handed to them. So and they work their asses off. And women coworkers are incredible because they understand that people have stuff going on, and they're a little bit more compassionate, and they'll actually listen if you have an issue. Maybe, you know, give you a little leeway to go home for your appointments. I'm not saying guys aren't the same way, but what I've experienced with female coworkers is they can actually listen when they're in a role of supervision or management. So I wanted to throw this video together. Then I'll keep on talking. whenever I post anyway, I usually take the video down. I don't feel comfortable with it. And then it doesn't get any views. So it's kind of a double whammy of, I'll make a video, low effort. I'll look at these guys on YouTube as well, and I thought it was a lot of effort to throw together a video. I know there's scripts out there. I know a lot of guys are really good at editing. I know that there's a lot of cuts in between videos, and that was intriguing to me when I was younger, or I first started watching YouTube, or when I was at work and YouTube was, again, when it was new and it was 8 hours a day. But now you can throw together a video, and that's it. There's like nothing to it. Anyone can throw a video together. So if you're out there and you're thinking, can I just post something on YouTube? Just post something on YouTube. If people see it, they see it. If you don't like it, you can take it down. If you don't like the comments, don't look at the comments. Just post a video out there, and maybe you find a community. I guess I get community with other vets who are always willing to listen. Doesn't matter what branch they are. Once you're out, you're out. You go into the fold, you go into normal day life. And the vet status just kind of, it stays with you. I still a vet, but those memories, they fade more and more. And but you still have a community there. And even if you're in the civilian life, if you post something like this on YouTube, I've seen it done so many times before where the algorithm might pick you up, and people might watch, and they might listen to what you have to say, and you might think it's mundane, but it's probably not mundane. I'll listen to anyone. I'll listen to all these different guys post on YouTube, and I'm never critical. I never criticize or say something, or I just listen, because I think that's all they want. So yeah, well, have a nice day, and I'll probably just keep on posting and make a little channel here. All right, thanks.